Final couple of opinion polls, and the two most important ones. One yet to land, Newspoll. We'll go through that in a moment. But Ipsos has landed and been published by the Australian Financial Review. What's it telling us? There is a tightening, first of all. This is the primary vote. Labor here down 2 and the Coalition up 3. The Greens steady at 13. One Nation increasing by 1 as well, and others down 2, including some undecided. So people making up their minds. So on the surface of it, you say, well, the Coalition's catching up here. But let's remember where this comes from. The last election, the Coalition was at 41.4. So they'd be losing 6.4% of their primary. Labor would be making up 2.6. So the Coalition losing a lot. Labor picking up some of it, and the Greens picking up the rest. The Greens flow to Labor at a rate of 80%. So in other words, you'd see another 2.4% of the Greens on two-party preferred go towards Labor. So yes, the tightening is happening, but is it happening fast enough? On these numbers, at the moment at least, not enough for the Coalition to form government. They won't form government if they lose more than 6% on their primary. It would be down to whether Labor gets a majority. At the moment on these preference flows, when we bring up the two-party preferred right now, 53-47 to Labor. That is down 1. So it was 54-46 to Labor. So yes, it's a tightening. As I said, on that primary, not a tightening enough. But how close will it get? From 52-48, you will see the beginning of that point of Labor having its majority in doubt. In terms of, yes, a uniform swing, but anyone looking at a 4.5% swing, two-party preferred, the Coalition won't win on those numbers. Just keeping in mind as well, Newspoll. Let's look at that because we're going to get new numbers later on tonight and published in the Australian tomorrow. This will be fascinating how much this has tightened because you saw Labor creep up from 37 to 39 and back to 38. But that's a really solid lead. The Coalition 36 and hovering around there to 35. That's a bigger lead on primary. And you are seeing on those numbers, Labor go up 4.5% or a bit more on their last election, and the Coalition again losing 6.5%. So Labor picking most of it up in their own right. At those numbers, Labor's destiny is in its own hands. Compared to Ipsos, Labor wouldn't even need to worry too much about preference or different flows. They'd win a majority on that. The last two-party preferred, to remind you as well on Newspoll, the last one we got on these numbers was a bit more than a week ago. And as you can see here, 54-46, that's a very strong lead to Labor. How much will this be cut down is the big question. And of course, accuracy of the polls. Of course, we'll keep looking at that. We do have more reason to believe they'll be accurate this time around. They've changed methodology. We've told you through the various elements of that. So it is still worth looking at that. But yes, tightening, what will Newspoll show? All parties will be looking at that. And what about the visits of the two leaders as this election winds up? I remember the final week last time, Scott Morrison went to Longman, Braddon, Bass. They won all of those seats. Where's he going now? Leichhardt on the defensive. So, yes, still trying to shore up that seat in question. But look at all the Labor seats he's visiting. Blair, the government talking that up. Labor adamant they're going to hold on to it. It's an interesting seat in terms of that outer suburban area. Parramatta, that seat's in play in New South Wales. Lingiari, right in play. I'm told this seat is a concern for Labor, but neither side's sure exactly how it goes, given it's very remote in the Northern Territory. Solomon, also Northern Territory, I don't think that will go. But then you get to Lyons. Increased thought that could be vulnerable for Labor in Tasmania. Corangamite, the #1 target for the government in Victoria. Griffith is an interesting one because that one is not going to be won by the LNP, but it's a Labor Greens contest. Perhaps that's more a coincidence. And then Werriwa, a really interesting one. 5.5%, not spoken about much. But is this a new government target? Is this the new Braddon, if you like, that Labor's perhaps not tracking and the government feels like it's picking something up and might have some demographics to play with? It would seem unlikely, but we've seen this before. And then Swan, so on the defensive. And with Scott Morrison visiting Perth today, will he get to more seats? Cowan and go on the offensive, and Pearce. So how much can they hold back the red wave in WA will be crucial. Anthony Albanese, and we're going to see these visits ramp up as well, but where's he going? Haslock twice, Swan twice, Pearce twice. 3 seats that he wants in WA. He launched his campaign there. Clearly still a lot of effort put in here. If they win 3 in WA, that's huge for Labor. It becomes a lot harder for the Coalition to sandbag if that happens. If they can't get much progress in WA and Perth, well, has that been a bit of a misspent energy, if you like? Solomon, so both going there. Maybe we should take note of it. As I said, I'm not picking up any concerns. Perhaps it's just that it's near Lingiari. Brisbane, one they hope to pick up, and the #1 target now in Queensland. So the rest of these seats they're hoping to get. Bass, Tasmania. going to be really close. Can Labor make progress in Tasmania? That will be crucial. Sturt, Boothby, I'm told, is basically in the Labor camp right now. A clear lead there, so maybe just moving up the pendulum a bit, hoping they can get 2 in Adelaide. And then Bennelong, so this is another seat. Their second target behind Reid, if you like, in Sydney. And how many they get in Sydney? You know, can they get 2 or 3 net? Will it be down to 1 net? Again, these margins are crucial as to how many net seats they can get in each seat. And Fowler, don't make too much notice of that. That was a commitment Anthony Albanese had before this week, but it's an interesting seat. We're expecting a big swing against Labor. It's on such a big margin. Christina Keneally still very likely to be that member, but we'll keep an eye on it.